I wore my boots for y'all today, so I'm conquering hell in cowboy boots. How's that? How's that? I don't care how you conquer hell, just make sure you do it. Y'all can have a seat. Thank you, praise team. Y'all are bad to the bone. I want to thank Pastors Sam and Christina for just the honor to get to stand in such a church of excellence. It speaks volumes whenever I travel all over the world every weekend. And I come to a church like this and I'm impacted myself. I'm leaving refreshed. Y'all have done a good job. Your church speaks of your excellence and your integrity, your heart posture. I got the privilege of going out to eat with them last night. And sitting with their 3 sons, I'm just blown away. I'm a crybaby too, so I may just end up. When you see what order does in your life, I watch as the men come up here and sit at the altar and lay down. I don't care if you were out last night doing something you shouldn't do and you were down here praying through. Just to see that you would get out of your seat and do your part, because that's how God is. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor this. I hate when people tell me to do this, but I will make you do it. They're like, look at your neighbor. I'm like, no! Look at your neighbor and say, don't judge me by the chapter you walked in on, because you ain't seen nothing yet. Because you ain't seen nothing yet. Don't you judge me by the chapter you walked in on, because you ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't seen who I've become. And I might be 75 years old and made a mess of my life, but God's about to restore time. You ain't seen nothing yet, baby. You ain't seen nothing yet, baby. You might have been in an adulterous affair. There may be a family in this room right now and you are struggling from an infidelity in your family. You've chosen to stay together. Can I tell you that God can work it out? Couples that work out infidelities, beast mode, man. And sometimes the reality of it is you have to do a few mistakes in your life to get the man or woman that you really wanted. Because when you find yourself in a million pieces splattered and scattered all over the ground trying to pick up your life, and somebody's a ride or die in your life, you learn to love and value them, don't you? Sometimes what the devil meant for evil, God means for good. He's going to use that affair to bring you closer. He's going to use that DUI to bring you closer to God. He's going to use that pornography addiction to bring you closer to God. He's going to bring that alcohol addiction to bring you closer to God. I don't care if you have killed somebody in your life. God can use what the devil meant for evil and turn it for good if you allow yourself to get better and not bitter. If you allow yourself, God, I'm intentionally going to worship you. I'm intentionally going to spend time with you. I'm going to intentionally make myself not watch pornography, not reach for that alcohol, dying to my flesh every day. I'm going to help you, God. I'm going to help you help me. God is such a good God. If you think about Jonah, he was told to go one place and he went another. How many of those do we have in this room? Sometimes it's like, God, what? Bye, boy. It doesn't feel, I'm not ready to worship you all the way yet. I'm not ready to be committed to be a Sunday school teacher at church yet. I'm not ready to go overboard and give you all. I still want to, I can't imagine not going to the bar and partying every night. Now, I'm going to need a full-time God on my part-time relationship, but you know how you work. You're a God of grace and mercy, so I'm just not ready yet. And he was told to go one place and he went to another. And this is how cool God is. He sent a big old whale. Some of you feel like you've been in the belly of a whale for a long time. He sent a whale and he said, well, go follow Jonah, crazy Jonah. Here we go again. Never listening, always getting himself in trouble, always creating all these storms. Can you follow Jonah? Because when he gets his mind right, he's going to need transportation back to where he belongs. That's God. That's how God rolls. He says, before you were ever even a thought in your mother's womb, you were going, cray, cray. He knew that you were going to fall 15 times, 20, 30. Some of you 250, some 1,000. How many of us can sit and judge somebody else because what we've done? We better hush. I'm reminded of a story that I'm about to tell you about. Did I finish talking about how awesome your sons were? They're awesome. Y'all just got to follow me. This is not a church this morning where you can be sleepy. I'm going to have you all over the place this morning. We're going to need class participation up in here. Because sometimes we get stuck in a place in our life and we find ourselves there a lot longer than we need to be there. We find ourselves there a lot longer because people are telling us we ain't never going to recover. We find ourselves just taking up residency in that place where we were supposed to leave a long time ago. We find ourselves stuck in that place. Stuck in that mediocre job, stuck in that place of making $7 an hour, stuck in that place of feeling like I'm just getting my just due reward. I'm just stuck here because I got myself here. So I'm just going to take up residency. But today, we're going to get a U-Haul. We're going to back it up. We're going to get everything that ain't supposed to be a part of our life. We're going to kick it to the curb. We're going to kick the devil back to hell where he belongs. And you're going to take back everything the devil stole from you. Everything. Breaking off generational curses. Generational curses is a real thing, but there's also a thing called generational choice. A generational choice where you say, today my family might have alcohol addiction in it. Oh, but not me, baby. Oh, my family might be divorced 9 times. Oh, but not me, baby. Oh, I might have addiction in my family. Oh, but not me, baby. I'm about to get myself unstuck. I'm about to help God help me. I'm about to learn joy unspeakable and full of glory. I'm about to learn what it feels like when you're walking in peace in the midst of a storm. I'm about to find what it looks like whenever you serve a God that never lets you go. Never lets you go. When the world's throwing you away, God's picking you up. When the world's putting you up there on the balcony, God's saying, come get a front row seat. When the world is talking about you and haters are spectators in your life, talking about you and lying about you, saying things about you. Maybe you did do exactly what they said you did, but you're no longer that person. He's going to allow them to get a front row seat while you're busy getting well, while you're busy taking back your kingdom, while you're busy rebuilding your family, while you're busy rebuilding your credit, while you're busy doing all these things. He's going to allow the spectators. He's going to say, all your haters, come sit right here. Just park it right here on the front. Because I'm about to vindicate this cute little Mohawk girl. I'm about to move her from the basement to the penthouse. I'm about to enlarge her territory. And I want you to have a front row seat so you see that your mouth can't touch my anointed. Your mouth can't touch her. Because what I qualify, it don't matter what man says about you. They can take your credit. They can take your name. They can take your everything, baby. But when you serve a God, he can move you literally from that basement to that penthouse in 2 seconds flat. And let me tell you how I know this. Turn to Psalms 1. Y'all gonna make me preach up in here. Can't help but be passionate because I know what God did for me. I know what he did. I know what he did when the world wrote me off. I know what he did. Psalms 1:1 says, blessed is a man who walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. Do you know what that means? Blessed is a man who walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. It means staying in people's presence that say anything about you that goes against what God says about you. Anybody that keeps reminding you when God says that your mercies are new every morning, and they keep reminding you of that unwed pregnancy that you had. They keep reminding you of you dropping out of school. Dismiss yourself every time. Nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful, nor stands in the path of the sinners. You know what that means? That means you can't keep hanging out with those party friends that you keep hanging out with. That means once you come to know Jesus, you got to let go of the things that you're codependent on. Those people, or stands in the seat of the scornful. Meaning you can't have one foot in and one foot out and think God's going to do anything in your life. But his delight is in the law of the Lord. And in his law, he meditates day and night. You know what that means? That means the whole world might be coming against you, but you're delighting yourself, knowing that this is not the way my story is going to end. In his law, he meditates day and night. He is like a tree planted by the rivers of living water. You know what that means? That means every night. You got insomnia? How many people got insomnia in here? Try reading your Bible. About chapter 2. And thus says the Lord. He's coming through, Lord. For I know the plans I have for you, saith the Lord. It's a fast insomnia healer, because the devil doesn't want you to read the Bible. Because once you read the Bible, you're like a tree planted by the rivers of living water. When that storm starts to come, you're like, you in hell. God says in his word, devil, you can't tell me that mess. In his word, he says that I got plans to bless you and not harm you. What'd you boy buy? Whenever you are planted by the rivers of living water. See, they even got an app on your phone now. You can download the Bible app. YouVersion, to be correct. YouVersion. Go download it. And at night, instead of watching TV, plug your phone in by your head and let that dude read the Bible to you. And as you wake up in the morning, you feel stronger. You feel more powerful. You all of a sudden have promises downloaded on the inside of you. And one thing about God is he never lies. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of living water that bring forth its fruit, and in its seasons, whose leaf shall not wither. And whatsoever he does shall prosper. That means in the times of the storms, when you don't feel like opening your Bible, when you don't feel like walking around the house saying, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. There's just something about that name. See, you really want to be laying in your tears. You really want to be answered, don't want to be answering those credit calls. You really don't want to have to talk to that ex. You are so broken. But when you're planted like a tree planted by the rivers of living water, when those storms come, and they will, you can dig deep even if you ain't got a prayer and just start worshiping. I love you, Jesus. I don't know what you're doing, God, but I love you. I trust you in this broken season. I'm going to worship my way through. I love you, Jesus. I'm not moving from this place, God, until you lift this heaviness off me. You begin to put some power. You begin to put some faith. You can't be pitiful and powerful. You can't worship and worry. You can't be having faith and fear, baby. You got to choose one or the other, and always choose the latter. Because all those other little things ain't going to help. Ambien, honey, it makes you just eat and get fat. You don't even know you're eating at night. You up just grazing in the kitchen. But when you go serve a God that can heal you, that can deliver you from that stress, he can deliver you. He can set you free from that heartbreak. He can give you amnesia in your mind. He can restore. The godly are not so, but are like the shaft which a wind drives away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. The ungodly are not so, but are like the shaft. You want to know why every time a storm comes, you feel like chaff? You know what chaff is? Chaff is necessary when you are growing wheat. There's some friends in your life that are like termites. They're your chaff. They were important in one season of your life, but now that God is moving you quickly to another place, they are no longer important in your life. And when the winds of life come, they begin to fly away with the wind. When the storms come, they will ride with you in the car as long as you have gas. But the minute the gas runs out, they are nowhere to be found. Termites, as you're busy trying to rebuild your life, they are busy trying to eat away at your foundation. They are the chaff. And when the wind comes, they are going to go away. For the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. The way of the righteous, which means you could be in an alley all by yourself, sleeping in your car, lost everything, thinking no one knows where you are. Oh, but God does. Having to start your whole life all over again. Oh, but God knows. He's numbered your tears and he's put them in a bottle. He's got plans to vindicate you. He's got plans to bring you back better than you left. He's got plans to bring you back, because the harder you fall, the higher you bounce. The harder you fall, the harder you fall, the higher you're going to bounce. But only when you decide to help God help you. Saying, God, I'm tired of reaching over here in places that don't suffice me. Things that are only temporary fixes. Grabbing addiction, alcohol and drugs, gambling your money away, trying to fill a void that your daddy didn't give you, your mama didn't give you, your ex didn't give you, because you never really had a firm foundation of who God is. How do you really know there's a God, Kim? He's an invisible God. I need somebody that whenever I'm down and hurting, they can hold me. Only a temporary fix is what that is. It's a temporary fix. Needing someone to wrap their arms around you. Single lady, you will not die without a mate. Once you come to get to that place where you're complete in Jesus Christ, is when only he will bring the one into your life. How do you really know there's a God? Because in every verse that I used to hold on to, I realized that it took my part to play. And I was so desperate, because I was so used to people walking out of my life, that I needed a sure thing. And I would lay back in his arms and I would just pretend that I had Jesus behind me. I had done so many bad things that I don't even know why he would have shown up at my house, but he did. And I could feel his heartbeat. I could feel him there with his arms around me, restoring all the depleted areas in my life. Now I want you to go to Acts 28. And now, when they had escaped, they then found out that the island was called Malta. And the natives showed us unusual kindness, for they kindled a fire and made us all welcome, because of the rain that was falling and because of the cold. But when Paul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire, a viper came because of the fire and heat and fastened on his hand. So when the natives saw the creature hanging from his hand, they said to one another, "No doubt he is a god." No doubt. See, I need my bifocals. No doubt this man is a murderer, whom though he has escaped the sea, yet justice does not allow to live. See, if y'all read y'all's Bible like I'm reading, y'all might read it. But he shook off the creature into the fire and suffered no harm. However, ain't that cool? Ain't that like people? They helping him out till they thought he was about to die. He would swell up or suddenly fall down dead. But after they had looked for a long time and saw no harm come to him, they changed their minds and said that he was a god. Let me just build this story for you. You ready? Y'all get ready. We're going to hit this thing fast. You serve a God that can change your name from Saul to Paul. And this scripture is telling you about a man that was so bad as Saul that he deserved everything he had coming to him. But he got saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, water baptized. And God changed his name from Saul to Paul. That's how you can go from being the worst drug dealer on the planet And God can, over the years, restore you and give you a name back. That's why you can owe the IRS thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And some way God can just like move it. Maybe unfair justice happened to you. He can just hide it. That's why you got to trust who he is. And so after he came to know Jesus, there's some of you in this place that you think once you come to know Jesus that nothing is going to happen bad to you. That once you become a Christian, it's bad. And then you also have these other people that are way over here saying, every time I pray and read my Bible, something bad happens to me. Baloney! That's why the devil don't want you to do it, because he knows if you get over here and start doing what you're supposed to be doing, things are going to line up in your life. You can't help but have a blessing when you're doing what God told you to do. It ain't always the easiest thing to do, but you will always be blessed. And so because of the past sins in his life, he found himself being taken away to jail on a boat with some police officers. I'm making this a 2015 story. Y'all gonna like this story. It's the truth, but I'm just putting some of my stuff in here. And so the storm came, you know, like Katrina. Do you remember when Katrina was coming and they were telling everybody, get in your house, grab your kids, take your suitcases, take all your belongings, get out of Katrina, get out of his way. You remember that? Everybody was running. Everybody was running. People were in there. You couldn't get gridlock on the roads. This is how it was. So there was a 411 going around all the island, and the island said, if you stay on this island, there's a storm coming, and it's going to kill everybody on this island. No one will make it. And Paul found himself scared and talking to God, saying, God, I know I got a promise. I know I'm not ready to go, Pastor. I know that it's not my time. And they're going to make me get on this boat and take me to prison anyway. He even made an attempt to go and tell these people. He said, we can't get on that boat right now because they're telling us that anybody that gets on this water, they're going to die. Those police officers, you know, those rent-a-cops probably. Those people are like, you know, needing some power. They were like, oh, you getting on that boat, Bo. You getting on it. And he found himself talking to God. And God said, this is where some of you are right now. Oh, the boat will surely go down. But you won't. The boat's going to fall apart. People are going to die, but not you. I'm going to give you just a piece of a promise to hold on to. When everything in your life is going to hell, but you know there's something in your life that you have not met yet. You haven't met that spouse yet. They've told you got cancer and you're going to die, but you know that your life should not be over yet because there's still some things in your life that you know are supposed to come. Even when the turbulence and the rain and everything else comes, when you know your promise in God, turbulence don't affect you at all. And he found himself. The storms came and the boat started falling apart. The waves started going and nails and screws, and the boat was falling into a million pieces. And Paul's calmly. You know those storms that you go in when the whole world gives you the permission to curl up and die because what you're going through is so hard. Because, see, things don't happen in your life at one thing at a time. It's not just like your mama dies and then you're fine for a few years. No, it's usually like your mama dies, your daddy dies, your uncle dies, everybody in your family. It's like, devil, really? God, really? You're trying to figure out what in the world is going on in your life? Really? One more storm? Because the enemy didn't fight you because you're weak. He fights you because you're strong. He fights you because you've got everything you need on the inside of you to get through what you're in. Even if you've had to move back in with your mother. Even if it means that you had to start all over again after 28 years. Even if it means you have to pick up the pieces after your baby died. Nobody can do it but you. Pastor Christine and Pastor Sam, they can't make you grab a hold of your tomorrow. They can't make your heart decide to beat again. You have to realize that you got a promise that God ain't through with you yet. You may feel invisible. You may feel like you are hidden. And yes, you probably are, because God is such a good God that sometimes he'll hide you until you're ready. He'll hide you because he knows that you're ready to get married, and you'll jump out and you'll go where you shouldn't go just because you'll settle. He'll hide you. And we find in this storm that when the storm and the nails and the boat started falling into a million pieces, he grabbed a piece of that boat holding on to that boat. The winds were crashing. And you know, after you've been, I don't know if you've ever been to the beach when the waves start coming and that thing starts trying to pull you out. It's all you can do to stay up your limbs. It feels like you're Gumby. It feels like you're just grasping for breath. You're like starting to fight. Can you imagine when there's no light out on the ocean? There's nothing. You really don't have any hope. He had no light. He had no water. He had nothing. And somewhere in his mind, he probably was thinking, I deserve this because I got myself here. But God said that he's got me. And he held on to that piece of that boat as everything was crashing, out of breath. He just probably lay there, and I can imagine laying there holding on to that thing, just trying to battle his feet to keep it. Probably felt whales and sharks and fish hitting at his feet. Probably like those creditors that keep calling you. That was the fish hitting at his feet, you know, trying to take the breath out from under him. And I can probably hear him just laying out there going, I don't know what you're doing, God, but I trust you. You said you were going to do exceedingly abundantly, more than I could ever ask or think, but God, I trust you. Because he just had to keep himself awake. Because sometimes in those storms, all you got is a wiggle with your foot. All you got is you just got something. Just hope. One little ounce of hope left. Coming into this church and listen to Pastor Sam just say, hold on just a little while longer. Sometimes that's all you got. Quick at his feet. Tired. And God says, he's the calm. Whenever your baby's laying in that hospital, you don't know if it's their last breath. You just don't want to go to sleep, but you're so tired because you don't want to miss something. That's how he was. And God has a way of coming up under you and holding you. He may not take the storm away at that minute because he's waiting for that circumstance to change you. But he ain't gonna leave you. Because every storm runs out of rain. If you just hold on. We find that he sees the sunlight coming up. And his heart gets excited. Because, oh man, I see land. You know how you don't know what God's about to do, but you wake up one morning and you got hope again. You just feel life again in your body. It's like he's starting to turn some things around. It's time. And you don't know what, because you still can't see no light at the end of the tunnel, but there's a flicker of hope. There's just a little. That was him. He saw shore. And all of a sudden, he just started saying, thank you, God. He starts paddling, and then he starts seeing heads bobbing. He's looking, he's seeing these bobbing heads coming, and they're looking, and these people are looking, they're, oh my gosh, there's somebody that made the storm. He must be a God. Let's take good care of him, because anybody that can survive that, because that's how people do, right? They see you coming back up. They might made you push that car by yourself. But once they see you coming back up, they're going to tell everybody, I know who they are. Yeah, I know them. Yeah, I know them. All by yourself through your rough season, but the minute you start coming back, people want a comeback story. That's why your kids need you to live again, Mama, Daddy. That's why your kids need you to reach out to them, Daddy. You may not have talked to them in forever because their mother was so awful. She makes it hard for you to see your babies, but you better reach out. Because people want somebody to come and save them. They want a comeback story. They want to feel hope. They really want to feel hope. They may talk about you, and they may give you permission to lay down and die, but they really want your heart to beat again. They really do. And so they say, oh, he must be a God. They start pushing the sticks and getting him a fire because they know he's going to be so tired. Now, they don't know how he survived. They said nobody could survive. There was nothing out there but a bobbing head in the water. And he starts coming up off that shore. He's so tired. He's so tired. He feels like he can't move. You know what I'm talking about? When you're just tired. When you just feel like I can't get up out of bed again. I just want to give up. I don't see a break in this thing. I can't get ahead. I take 10 steps forward and I take 20 steps back. I got everything in the world. I got all the boats, all the houses, all the cars, all the money, all the fancy clothes, and I still don't have joy. I'm still not happy. I'm tired. I don't want to get up today and breathe again. I don't want to be the mom that has to just work myself silly. I don't want to. I don't want to go to chemotherapy today. I don't want to take radiation. It's the third time I've had a bout with cancer. I just don't want to do it. I'm tired. Maybe it's God's will for me to die. No, it's not. It's not God's will. Because when God got off of that cross, that throne, and onto that cross and stretched his arms out wide, he said, for you it is finished. He said, you are going to be healed. Your marriage is going to be restored. You will begin again. It is not God's will. Fight to your last breath. If it's God's will, I'll survive. You do everything you can to live. You fight. Nobody can make you fight. Nobody can make you live again. But you telling your heart to beat again can. Because the same power that raised Jesus from the dead lives on the inside of you. And before you were ever even a thought in your mother's womb, he knew that you was going to be here. And he said, I got plans to bless you and not harm you. I got plans to restore you. I got plans to give you back the years the devil stole. If you just take one foot in front of the other, even if you feel tired. When Apostle Paul got up off that roach and he started going and he's seeing, this showed Paul's character. They were pulling the sticks to the fire. Now somebody that's a victim in their own story, blaming the whole world for why they're in the boat they're in. They'd have been like, yeah, just get that. When you get the fire started, just come get me. Not Apostle Paul. He said, I'm so tired I can't pull, but I can push. He started pushing those sticks, trying to help. He said, if you're going to help me, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you get this fire started. I'm going to help you. And let me just tell you how the devil works. Those natives have been building that fire for him, and not one of them got bit. And as soon as Apostle Paul goes and starts pushing those sticks, because the devil didn't want him to make it, he gets bit. You want to know if that job's right? Put some fire on it. You want to know if you're supposed to marry that man? Put some fire on it. You want to know if you're supposed to marry that woman? Put some fire on it. Once you begin to get around a fire and put some fire on it, start putting, he had some fire in his life. He had some things in his life the devil didn't want him to conquer. So when he starts pulling, the devil is still trying. And when you put some fire on it, the snakes will come out. The snakes in your life, the snakes that are not right, will come out. Start spending some time getting some fire motivated in your life. Start praying. Start listening. Start just laying there saying, God, I don't even know how to pray, but I'm just going to say, Jesus. Whatever you got to do, you just got, Jesus. Jesus. I'm not leaving this room until you answer me, God. I need an answer. Anytime you put some fire on it, them snakes come out. And as soon as that snake hit, them natives started barking. Whoa! Because that's what people do. That's why you can't depend on people to validate you. Because God already validated you long before you were a mother's womb. You can't depend on people. People crazy. People up one day and down the next. They got their own issues. You're looking at that woman with the perfect marriage. You're mad because you got to work, and her husband's like giving her a Mercedes, and she getting to eat out every night. She got a maid. She got an awesome kid. She gets to play tennis every day. Go work out. I just wish my husband was like that. He just flips burgers at Burger King. But yet your husband comes home every night and lays hands on your kids and spends time with you and loves you and values you. And see, you can't compare your life to somebody else. She don't ever see that man, and he's got 4 women in other states. You can't compare yourself. You can't allow people to validate you. Because when they get up and walk out of your life, your validation walks out with them. That's why you got to be firm in who God says you are. If they tell you you're fat, you say, yep, I'm the fattest, prettiest, thickest thing on the planet. You're going to wish to God you'd have stayed with me. That little Barbie, she might be cute now. Oh, you leaving me for her? Good peace. Bye, boo. Because whenever somebody needs to wipe your tail when you old, she ain't going to do it. But I would have. You're going to wish you wouldn't have given up on me because I loved you right. Instead of getting mad and believing them, you start saying, you're going to wish you stay with this thick thing. You're going to wish, boo. You're going to wish. You can't look for people to validate you. I ain't even going to lie, it feels good. That's why you come to this church, because pastors have got that thing down, man. They know how to love you back to life. It does feel good, but they can't be there at 3 o'clock in the morning when your life is falling apart. You got to know who you are in God. You got to know how to lay hands on your children. You got to know how to lay hands on your checkbook. You got to know how to lay hands on your mind and say, mind, line up. You got to know how to look in the mirror and say, girl, you might feel like you ain't nothing because they walked out on you. But my God said he made you beautifully and wonderfully. He created you so perfectly. And rejection was really God's protection. I know right now you can't see it, but God thought that I deserved more than that. So it wasn't because I was fat he walked out. It wasn't because I was a loudmouth he walked out. It was because he had a spirit driving him. So I'm not even going to be mad at him for walking out on me. I'm going to forgive him, and I'm going to be praying for that spirit driving him. Releasing yourself to be blessed abundantly. He finds himself pushing the sticks. The snake comes out. They bark. He must be a Christian killer, a murderer. He must be a murderer. Now here's the ironic thing. It's easy to defend yourself when what they say about you ain't true. Ain't it? It's easy to be, I didn't do that. I didn't do it. You don't even care. You're like, whatever, I didn't do that. But what you going to do when what they said about you is true? He was a Christian killer in his past life. What you going to do when you've been praying for a storm that you knew was coming? And you didn't see that storm coming. So you weren't ready for it. See, he knew the storm was coming and the boat was going to fall apart. He knew. He was already praying over that one. But he didn't know about this storm over here where the snake was going to bite him and be left for dead. He didn't see that storm coming out. But because he was like a tree planted by the rivers of living water, he was like, this is just another storm, and every storm runs out of rain, so watch this, baby. Boom, shaka, laka, boom. You can back up all you want, but I'm coming out of this thing. In his past life, he was a Christian killer. That's why he was going to jail. He did everything. Anything you could think of, he did it. I don't know about you. See, back in those days, that was just his just due reward. Justice. They couldn't help him because it was justice. He deserved that. But I don't know about you. But my God says once you come to know me, all old things are passed away. And I'm making things new in your life. So that karma you've been talking about, bye-bye. Once I came to know Jesus, all old things are passed away. I don't have to receive that. I don't believe that a woman that had an affair on a man a long time ago has to still pay penance for the rest of her life. Once she comes to know Jesus and he washes you clean, he gonna take care of you. Once you come to know Jesus, all old things are passed away. You could have been a drug dealer. You could have been, I have a friend right now that should be going to jail for 20 years for his past sins. Sometimes them past sins will make you get to know Jesus real fast, won't it? That's why everybody in jail gets saved. He's a sure thing. Because your storms will drive you to Jesus. When you ain't got nobody else, you learn to talk to Jesus. That invisible God that you think ain't for real, all of a sudden you know who Jesus is in the middle of that storm, baby. And you let that storm be just bad enough and you won't never leave him again. That one thing in your life that drives you to the feet of Jesus. That one thing that was so bad in your life that broke you in so many pieces. The thing that you detested, the storm that you hated was the one thing that made you pursue Jesus. And now you ain't never going to leave him because you know he was there. Atheists can fight you all day long, but they can't convince you because they don't know what he did for you. He finds that storm. He finds himself at that place. And he still didn't give up. He shook that thing off. He didn't swell up and die. But here's what God will do for you. You ready for the turnaround and the ending? You ready for the big old fat ending? Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Come on, give me some ending music. Yeah, come on. You want me to tell you what the ending looks like? Let me tell you what God can do. Let me tell you what God can do. So they gave up on him, right? They already threw him away and gave him away as he deserves everything that he's getting. But you know what happened? This is how cool God is. Those natives that backed up from him, they funded his ministry. God will use the haters in your life. He will use the spectators. He'll use the ex. He'll use the people in your life that have chalked you off to support your ministry. When I wrote my book 9 years ago, I found myself lost everything. I tried to write a book for 3 years after I got healed and married. God told me to write a book. And I started writing the book and I put it down because I was having to admit some things in there that I was scared that church people would judge me for. And God kept saying, you're going to have to tell it. Because where I'm taking you, you're going to have a magnifying glass on you and a spotlight. Everybody in the world's going to know you. Let it all out. And whenever I had left 9 years prior, I had to leave everything that I was familiar with. Because I was the girl up on the bar at Coyote Ugly. Whoop, whoop. I know that shock show. That was not a naked bar either. Coyote Ugly is a cool bar you do this dance with, right? But I'd get drunk and think I was a Coyote Ugly, and I was far from her. And they'd be like, can y'all get your friend off the bar? And all those people that I used to hang out with, I had to dismiss. I had to literally let them away. There were people in my life that I had to put up in the balcony. Because sometimes you allow those people in your life that are right here in the VIP section of your life. They're the ones that talk to you every day. They're the ones that whenever you get off the phone with them, you feel like you need to go take a shower because they keep reminding you of where you did and what you did. And that's why mamas don't be telling your kids what they did wrong. Let it go. Sometimes you got to take those people in your VIP section right here and say, hey, come on. I love you. I really do. But I've outgrown you. And just like you outgrow clothes, you outgrow friends. And I'm just going to put you up there in the balcony and you got to watch me from a distance. You got to watch me from up there because where I'm going, you can't go with me. It will sometimes feel like the loneliest season of your life. And in that season, I started writing a book. All those people that were talking about me through my divorce, all those spectators, all those haters, they funded my book ministry. Every time I started seeing their names come across buying a book, I was like, you buying that book to see if you in it. But you funding my ministry. Stand up on your feet. The very people in your life that talk about you, that throw you away, are the very people that God is going to use to fund your life. Don't you lay down and die. Don't you lay down. Everybody in this room, close your eyes. Father, I thank you today that, God, you're working on people all throughout this room. I see your hand just moving, just the power of God moving. Lord, I thank you that you are just giving us amnesia in our minds, God, of the past sins and the things that people did about us, Father. Lord, even in the midst of our storms, when we've made all these decisions, there's somebody in here, you're holding on to some secrets. You're so afraid that if anybody finds out that you'll never be able to go forward. Nobody will ever listen to you. Nobody will ever help you. But your message, your test is your testimony. Your scars are going to be turned to stars the minute you stop running and you face it. So here's what I want you to say, Father. I give you everything. I give you every broken piece. I give you every promise. I give you every hope. I give you every ounce of defeat. I give you every ounce of despair. I give you every ounce of rejection. I give you every ounce of hopelessness. There's somebody in here with suicidal thoughts. God's healing you right now. You thought that was your way out, but God is healing you. He is healing you. He is healing you right now. Go on and receive it. Just say, God, I receive it, Lord. I receive you restoring my heart. I receive you, God. Lord, just turn my mourning into a brand new morning. Lord, take my despair and give me joy. Lord, I want joy unspeakable and full of glory. I say yes to you. Some of you just need to say yes. I say yes to you, God. I say yes to you. Is there anybody in this room that don't know Jesus? I want you to lift your hand up really, really high. Lift your hand up really. You got to know who Jesus is in order to get your promises. To stay faithful, you got to know who Jesus is. Lift your hand really high up in here. Really high, really high. If you don't know, don't you be no patty cake. You gotta say, you gotta be, just come on, lift your hand up high. If you walk out of this place and get hit by a Mack truck, are you going to heaven or hell? Lift up your hand in this place. Lift up your hand. I see you, I see you, I see you, I see you. Yeah, I see you, I see you. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to say, Father. In fact, everybody in this place needs to renew your faith right now. Everybody say it. Father, forgive me for everything that I've done that has kept me bound, that has allowed my mind to be deceived. Father, have your way in my life. I receive you, God. Lord, I thank you for taking the tap off my blessings. Lord, I thank you that money's coming into my life. Lord, I thank you that money will not be a problem. Lord, I thank you that I'll be a lender and not a borrower. Lord, I thank you that I'll be a healer and not a broke heartbroker, God. I thank you right now, God, that I'm the head and not the tail. I'm the top and not the bottom. I'm blessed going in. I'm blessed going out. Father, have your way. And today is a new day. Come on, tell yourself, put your hand on your heart. Say, heart, it's time to beat again. It's time to love again. It's time to heal. It's time to love people back to life. I give you permission to be loved. Thank you, Pastor.